Hi everyone, welcome to a new game dev episode. I would like to explain what my new game is about. Howling Tales is the story of Lupo, a boy who is challenged to leave his home and venture into a new and unknown world to find a cure for his grandmother. As he embarks on this adventure, he will discover his true identity and the reality of the world he lives in. A game inspired by Last of Us in terms of narrative, but based on an open world with RPG ingredients. In this devlog, we will see some new UI designs for quests and dialogues, and on the other hand, I added some new features and refined the dialogue system. So let's get started. Maybe the most interesting thing this week is the new dialogue system. This is a new overview of the features.
Hello, stranger.
I don't want any quest.
Okay, no worries. Bye.
When approaching an NPC, we can now see the message to interact with him. We can press on the triangle on the controller to start the conversation. As you can see, I have added a new camera system. It needs a little adjustment in terms of framing, but so far it works. The cameras alternate between the speakers. On the other hand, the dialogue system now works with the controller. The integration of the controller with the UI is always tricky, both with Unity and Unreal, but I managed to make it work following some tutorials on YouTube. I highly recommend Ryan Slaley's tutorials about UI integration with the controller. I leave the link in the description for you to take a look. Another new feature is the voiceover. Now the dialogue contains not only text but also voice audio. At the moment I'm using Replica. It's an AI generated voice system. The voices are a bit robotic, but as placeholders, I think they serve their purpose. Replica offers 30 minutes of free audio with which you can generate many voiceovers. It's also integrated with Unreal through a plugin. I'll leave the link in the description in case you are interested. Finally, now when through the dialogue you get a new quest, you receive a notification through a pop-up. In current games, I see that these notifications usually appear on the sides of the screen. On the one hand, I like this feature because they don't interrupt gameplay, but on the other hand, I think they can go unnoticed if we are very focused on other things. In my game, there won't be many quests, so I think it's better to stop the game and make sure the player saw he received a new quest. But you as players, what do you think is better? Please let me know in the comments. Let's move on to the new UI designs. This week I work again on the design of some screens. For the UI design, I use Adobe Illustrator because it allows me to use vectors and I like the flexibility that gives me. On the quest screen, I decided to make it a bit more visual and added icons. So now each quest will have its own icon, as you can see in the quest log. This will probably end up with icons for sub-quests as well, so that both the quest log and the new quest pop-up follow the same criteria. As you may have already seen in the overview for the dialogue system, I added the notification for new quests. The idea is to create an icon for each quest so that it appears both in the notification and in the quest log. Finally, I started to design the UI for dialogues. I haven't integrated it into the game yet, but here are the main designs. There will be two different screens. First, the design for the NPC, where the camera frames the character in the middle and his dialogue is down in the center of the screen. By pressing the cross button on the controller, we go to Lupo's conversation, where we can have several answers. The design frames the character on the left side and on the other side the available options. All these designs can be changed. The advantage of starting with them so early in the development is that I have more time to improve them. The UI is a very important part of the game. Often it ends up a little bit neglected because it's left for the end of the development. And that's something I would like to avoid. And that was all in this episode. If you like this content, don't forget to like the video and subscribe, and feel free to leave comments if you have any questions or suggestions. Every Monday, I post a new video showing the progress made during the week. So see you next week and have a great day.